Hello, hello. Azure AI Connect Day 4. We're running strong, right? And I have to say that I'm very pleased with how this event went. I know that some speakers have their issues, and I totally understand that. For example, there is a speaker that asked me whether he can provide a recorded session. By all means, when we are people, we are humans, things happen. But overall, I don't focus on that. I focus on the quality of the sessions. And I have seen amazing sessions from every speaker of us. So I really appreciate the effort from all our speakers. And I'm truthfully appreciative of our supporters. The Global AI Athens community in YouTube has reached 1,800 members in just this last month. I'm really amazed because I didn't do anything. That means that you like the content, and I will try to continue on this page to provide the best content for you. Azure AI Connect 2026, and we have Manpreet with us to start the day. Let me bring him on stage and welcome Manpreet. Hello, my friend. How are
Hello,
you
hello.
today?
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Where are you located, Manpreet?
I'm in Philadelphia,
Oh,
USA.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday, another speaker was also from Philadelphia. I think was Lizzie Thomas. Do you know her?
T. Thomas, yeah, I know that. Yeah,
Lizzie
nice.
Thomas. Yeah, yes. All right. Okay, so what is your session about? What are you telling us today?
Today we're gonna see what's new in AI Foundry. Of course, every morning when you get up and you try to refresh Azure AI Foundry, there's something new in the picture. And Microsoft is making very simple for us to build agents. So that's what my plan is to showcase how everyone, even if you're a developer, pro developer, everyone is scared about Azure because they feel it's a pro developer tool. It's not. The Microsoft is making sure and it's empowering everyone to build agents on it. And that's my purpose today to showcase to you how easy it is to build agents with Cobalt Studio, which is low code, no code, and even with the Pro code, it's kind of no code there as well. So that's my plan here today.
So true, so true. Okay, so I'm going to allow you to continue with your speech. I'm all ears, and the
Sure.
stage is yours, my friend. Welcome to Azure AI Connect
Thank
2026.
you, thank you, and thank you for hosting all of us. I think the last 4 days has been amazing. I think one more day, right? Tomorrow is also the fourth day.
Yes,
Thank you for doing this for all of us.
the honor is ours.
All right, so let me bring my screen here. All right. So hello everyone. Nice of you all to join here today. I know this is virtual and I love virtual conferences because you're able to reach out to more people and more people are able to reach out to the learning content which we are sharing with other people, right? So perfect setup for an Azure AI Connect. Hope it becomes a quarterly Connect or something like that. Today, I'll be covering how to build your agents, intelligence agents with the power of AI using Azure AI Foundry and how things are changing and how it is easy for you to build agents. You still don't have to open a Visual Studio Code to build agents on AI Foundry. So my whole plan today is to give you at least a preview of how people are building agents, what's new in Azure AI Foundry, and take it from there. So that's me. My name is Manpreet Singh. I am a senior architect at Cognizant. I lead the pre-sales team for the Cognizant Americas region. So anything in AI, Copilot, they all come under my bucket. I'm also an MVP and an MCD. And yes, I do speak at various conferences and I have my LinkedIn right on the right side. I think you can chat here by posting the comment while you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn. But if you're not, you can always ping me on LinkedIn. I'm always online is what people say me, and so you can always chat and we can have a quick discussions on what's new in Azure AI. All right, coming to a quick preview of Azure agents, right? I think there's no call in my whole day or in my whole week or in my whole month that it's not about agent. Every single part of the life cycle is agentic and employee and or agents coming and helping their experience, modern experience, processes, automation, all as part of the fixation. And that's where the agent growth will always keep increasing. 2026 will be more number of agents. You'll be able to see a lot of coming in and Claude and OpenAI and GPT models, new ones coming up. You're gonna see it's evolving, not just in our processes of work, but also on a personal level. I have my own personal couple of agents where I do my stuff like preparing this presentation or getting to know all my content, my own family insurance, taxes, and everything, all integrated as an agent. So it defines your key of how you want to use the power of AI in your day-to-day activity. And it's good to know, right? Even at the client side, people are experiencing better employee experience. They have more customer engagement. Their processes are becoming better. It's reducing the manual effort. And I trust me, I was just having a discussion last week with somebody, and I was like, "What if somebody takes away a co-pilot license? How will we work?" So we have become that dependent on AI and co-pilot or Azure AI agents because right now for us it's not about agents or AI coming and replacing jobs. It's all about helping us to do things much faster and better and more experienced, right? That's where the AI comes in the picture. It's helping us to grow that innovation in our own day-to-day cycle, day in the life of me or you, and help us navigating the day. That day navigation can be as simple as, hey, I want to apply for a leave. Instead of me opening a portal where I have to go check my leave balance, I just have to talk to my agent. Hey, agent, can you please apply for my leave on Monday? I am going for a trip. I need a long weekend. And agent goes in back and checks your leave balance, applies a perfect vacation leave kind of type balance for you, and send it for an approval to your manager. He or she approves it, and you get an email. Yes, your Monday leave is approved. You're all set for your travel. So this all process where I had to do all these things manually, I'll have to create a ticket at Workday or Jira or PeopleSoft for a leave, check my leave balance, then send an email to my manager, get his or her approval in the email, then do a process. I cut down that 30 minutes or 20 minutes of job in like seconds where I just told agent, hey, just apply a leave for me on Monday. Let the agent take care of all the process, automation, approvals, and things like that. That's the reduction of time. That one process, 20 minutes saving is what multiplies your day in a life, and I'm able to do much better, much intuitive things later in life, right? And this is all possible because of the foundation model, right? The OpenAI, the first ever model, and it started shooting up GPT 3.5, Mini, Turbo, F4, and now there are hundreds. I was talking with our AI group, and we were like, "Hey, will we ever be able to use all the models, even test it?" The answer is no. There's so many models, and these models are public domain models. There are more models which companies have built them on their own custom data set, which you will never have access. So every company now, whether it's pharma, life sciences, healthcare, banking, they have their own model. Then they use these base models as an orchestration layer. So it's a never-ending process, but it does provide you a clarification or is it a validation of what kind of model will you use. And I'll walk you through that process. Uh, Sorry. So AI agenting has become every day everyone's tool. Even if people who were telling me last year, "Hey, no, we are a healthcare company, we cannot bring in AI. It is reading our data." They got that confidence. They understood that layer, that orchestration is their own. AI and agents are gonna help them in their processes, make them better from customer endpoint to legacy applications to business processes for an employee. Everything has changed, and that agent journey has become much more easier and faster, and I would say scalable. Right? Scalable is a very important word. You don't want an agent for a product. You can't have 10 agents for 10 products. It beats the purpose. You are, instead of crawling from one app to other, crawling between agents, and that's why the multi-agent framework came in the picture. Sorry. So instead of you starting from one applications doing that purpose, I'll take an example as ServiceNow. You're opening and creating a ticket or creating a task in ServiceNow. They started with a single agent process. You get your data set, you do your operations, but now the endpoint should be just one. I am going to just one agent, maybe Agent Manpreet, and Agent Manpreet has to do things from Workday, Salesforce, ServiceNow, SAP, everything as one platform. I don't want to switch between hundreds of agents to get my tasks done, because what will happen is, for example, if I'm on a chat engine and I'm asking, hey, what is my leave policy? It went and we got data from SharePoint and I got an output. Okay. But did not help me apply in leave because it was not connected to Workday. Then I call a multi-agent framework where the Workday comes in the picture, or Monday.com comes in the picture, or any PeopleSoft application comes in the picture. That multi-agent framework is what helps me navigating my employee experience better. Right. And this started with the single model, single agents. I know we all started with it, and everyone was learning on the go. Not everybody knew multi-agent will come in. And then last year, multi-agent was brought in, automated workflows are processes, and now I'll show you a preview. We'll all see in real time what I'm talking about. How easy it has become for you to build that agent and then scale that on your environment and call it an employee agent or a master agent calling child agent for your enterprise. Now, building and deploying and getting solutions, as I said, people still feel building agents is very difficult because, as I said, yeah, Azure AI Foundry is a scary name because they think it's a pro dev and everyone requires a Visual Studio learning content. Not at all. I have seen people with zero IT knowledge, zero degree on IT, and they have built beautiful, amazing agents. And that's what we want to do it here today. We're going to show you how easy it is for you to build end-to-end experiences on agents, and it can be any department from customer service, sales and marketing, finance, supply chain, HR. You can pick the goal, you can pick your use case, and you can build that agentic journey or experience for your company. And make sure you are using the power of Azure AI Foundry or Copilot Studio or even Gemini or Claude. Like they all have the same data set. So the whole model process works on the same seamless process. But how should I envision an agent, right? Like, what do I require to build an agent? Like, okay, agent is there, and ChatGPT is an agent, right, for me. But it does. I don't have control on data set. I don't have control on the guardrails. I don't have a workflow process created by default. I have to create on it, right? So how do I do that? It's very simple for any agent, right? Imagine there is a library. Okay, you have a library. There are lots and lots of books. Okay, those books, that library is becomes your input. That is your source of data set, right? So me, when I'm asking a question to an agent can be a chat. Let's call it as a chatbot. Okay, a chatbot. Hey chatbot, who is the what are the books that Shakespeare wrote? Okay, it goes to the library. It reads the context of all the library, orchestrate an answer for me with the title, and provide me that output. Okay, so this was single endpoint. Okay, you have a source, you have a medium of the messaging bot, which is getting the extracting the data and you're getting an output. Then we added tools of it. Why just go to a library? You can also check the same books in Wikipedia and Encyclopedia. So you added those web API endpoints, SaaS product, memory, action, where you're able to do, all right, can you also lock the book for me in the library? Sorry, give me a second. Where you're able to block the book in the library. So those actions, those memories started coming in, and that's where your agent comes in the picture. Now, what model to choose, what instructions to choose, we can all decide that. But it's always good to start with an endpoint layer which you're planning to choose as a base model. It can be GPT, Gemini, Grok. You can even name it and have it. The orchestration is just to help you to connect your data sets, your action items, and provide you that output as a generative AI. We call it generative, right? That is what it's going to be helping you with. And to build that, you need a portal, you need a platform like Azure AI Foundry where you can build a scalable solution in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe a day or two, but quick and faster. You don't need to host these in your local legacy application. You should be able to evaluate, test, break, play, and that's what the developer endpoints require. Right? They want a SaaS product where they can come and they can build things on a browser, on Visual Studio, on Visual Studio Code. That is all a good platforms to have it, but I want it to be built much, much faster. And that's where Azure AI Foundry comes in the picture. It provides you a product, end-to-end integration endpoint product for all your agent work, your data training, your machine learning, your automation workflows. You're able to build SDKs, connect them to Visual Studio, Copilot Studio. You're able to deploy an agent right by just click, click, click through as a web app or as a Teams app or an M365 app. That is where Azure AI Foundry comes into picture. And getting you the security, the observability, your content is safe, you don't have to worry about your PHI information, scaling lead, DLP policy. You can apply all those guardrails while you're building an agent just by configuration, not even writing a single line of code. And that is project because of Azure AI Foundry, you're able to build agents from as simple as an IT help desk agent to sales order, reasoning agent, video generations, content generation, marketing agents, claims processor, banking, financial help assistant. Like I can't tell you how many use cases we have built with this solution. Then you can build this multi-agent framework or single endpoint framework all using Azure AI Foundry. So it's making it easier for you as an individual that hey, come in and build agent story over it, right? Uh, and there are thousands of customers. I think this number is old and wrong. I would say every customer has started building on Azure AI Foundry agents. There's so many agents because what is a Azure AI Foundry providing you is an assembly line. Like you are able to choose your own model. It's not forcing you to choose OpenAI only or GPT only or its own foundation model only. You're able to choose your own model. You're able to customize those data set. You're able to bring in knowledge sources from the M365 landscape, but also your other third-party applications, enterprise applications. Because as an enterprise, you're not only using Microsoft, you're using ServiceNow, Salesforce, SAP, any number of tools in the market. You want them all to be utilized and integrated as part of the system. And then, yes, the orchestration comes along with the base which you are providing, and you are able to control the guardrails, safety, trust as the platform. So, when you build something as simple as one IT help desk or an HR agent, you are making sure all your endpoints are closed here. But now, the latest question is how can I build one? So, let's quickly jump on the session. I want to quickly show you a preview how easy it is. And I have a habit. I start something from the scratch so that you can do the same when you go back home. So let's go to Microsoft Foundry. Yes, ai.azure.com. Let me change it. All right. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. I can see it. If not, we can always connect later. That's the power of YouTube. It's getting saved. So when you watch this session, if you get stuck somewhere, just pull me in on LinkedIn and I'll be there. So I'll create a new project. So when you go to Microsoft AI Foundry, just go to ai.azure.com, click on create new project. Okay. It will ask you for a project name. I'll put project Azure AI Connect. Okay. There are some advanced options. You can choose the resource. I already have those resource groups created, so I'll just go ahead. So I'll have to click on creating your project. So it should take a minute, less than that, and I should have a project created. So project is more of a container you're creating for all your services and agents you're gonna be building underneath it, and then we will see how the agent comes in. And yes, so when you log into Azure.com, it will ask you for your credit card, but don't worry to play around with it. I think you get 150 or 200 project skill sets, which you can just bring in as part of your system. as a learner, right? Even I had the same thing. I don't want to try something when I'm like a fresher or something where I have to use my credit card and then I don't know what will the bill come. Don't worry about it. I would say as a learning phase, and you get those $200, $150 credits. You can always log into developer.microsoft.com. You'll be able to generate an account for you in portal.azure.com or portal.office.com, where you'll be able to create an Azure AI Foundry resources, create that, and always create it. If you're done with it, delete it. You don't have to keep it running or something like that. Like for example, I created this project. Once I'm done with the demo, I can just go and back in and create it. All right. Now my project got created. I have project Azure AI Connect. Now I have a project API key which I can directly consume. I have an endpoint. I have an Azure OpenAI endpoint right from the system which I can use it on my already legacy agents which I'm running in and bring that API layer, or I can directly go in. And this is a new preview of new Foundry agent preview. So I think whatever you might be seeing, they just keep evaluating. I was just telling him that every time I log in, there will be some new UI or preview of Azure AI Foundry. But this is a new latest Azure AI Foundry preview. You can quickly code as well as don't get scared. It's just an option, it's a sample. You can open this in VS Code and you can start running it right from there. I'll open it for you so that I can walk you through what it is have, and you can have all your API documentation, how to consume all your pull requests, push requests out here. Now that's AI Foundry. Now let's start building over it. So building an agent on Azure AI Foundry has become a click-through process now, and we're gonna do that, right? Creating an agent. Let's create an agent. So it's asking me for the name of the agent. I'll call it, sorry, agents conference 2026. All right. Right, I'm creating a conference 2026 agent. Okay, just a name of it, and then we have some data sets we can play around with. Sign in, sign in. So here is the gallery or the preview tool where you can create an agent, testing agent, and deploy it right from the system. So the agent conf 2026, it allows me to choose a model. Which model should I choose? Where should I go with? I have GPT-4 and deployed on my tenant, but I'll quickly show you how to go and see other models as well. So I'll click on browse model. Here you go. So here I'm able to deploy and check what are the different models I require, and I can just click on them. Oh, I like Claude. Let me bring Claude, and I can just click on Claude, and it will provide me a deployment option, and I can just have to click on deploy. Same goes with any other model I'm checking on Grok, or I just have to click on deploy, and then model comes in. Okay. I'll go more details on the model. So when you come in here, you choose your model. Yeah, this is a voice mode where if you want to enable and talk to an agent rather than chatting with an agent, which I feel 2026 and 2027 will be all about voice agent because we are tired of chatting with the agent as well. So you can enable this voice mode where you'll be able to talk, hey, can you, as I said, can you apply for a lead for me and it will apply for you. Then instruction. So instruction is nothing but you are providing a outcome on the purpose for an agent, what that agent should do, how it should do. It can be as simple as an HR agent, be HR, yeah, agent and provide employee onboarding process. Okay, very simple. And you can provide more detail layer on what the topic should be, where the data should come up from, and you can uh, okay. Somebody wrote, have you already deployed a Foundry resource in Azure? Otherwise, you get on the screen lion video. Yes, I have already done it. So you provided instructions, whatever you want that design, so that the agent understands the purpose of it and is not deviating from as a weather agent to an HR agent. So you want it to be defined to your goals of what that agent should be, right? Then comes is my favorite tools. Tools is where you'll be able to create and add content. Tools is where you'll be able to add content and data sets from outside, from your API endpoint, and as simple as here. So you click on web search if you want to enable data from Bing.com and things like that. If not, usually in enterprises we disable that option. If you want to this agent to be a code interpreter, which will analyze your code. So if you're building something for you as your personal, hey, I want a code interpreter agent which understands how what this code is, how this class is, where it works on, things like that. Or I can always do browse all tools here. I have a direct click-through process to enable data sets from a file search, code interpreter, Azure AI search engine, of course, Bing search, grounding data, SharePoint and Fabric. These two are in preview and most used, I would say. Why? Because most of the companies they still have data on SharePoint side. You just have to click on it and click on add tool, and you just have to provide a connection and Azure AI search connection with the site URL, and you're able to bring the SharePoint data set right without adding content to your preview. So you're able to get that agentic knowledge hub right through Fabric tools as well as your SharePoint data set. Let me go back here. Right. Yeah, why am I? All right. And the same goes with Fabric Data Agents. If you have a Fabric Data Agents, you provide your workspace ID and artifact ID and your data sets. Wherever that Fabric Data Agent is getting data from SQL or Oracle, they all becomes as a data endpoint tools connected to your agent. Easy it is, right? But for you, I'll make it more easy. Don't do all this stuff. Just go to google.com and download. I downloaded a file. Let me upload it an HR onboarding file. Okay, I already have a new index. If not, you can just click on create a new index and it will create. I have a modern employee onboarding guide which I downloaded from Google. Of course, an HR onboarding guide. I wanted to show you how the agentic journey. Okay, so let it go in. It's still uploading. All right, my file is uploaded. Click on attach. So now the indexing will happen. This was a quick file, so it's already indexed. Normally it will show me 1 out of 2 or 2 out of 3 index. So let me ask a question here. So I have loaded an agent, I've created an agent, I have a knowledge source which I've associated to it. Helping. So what is the onboarding process for an employee in Flare? I'll put Flare because that document I got it from a Flare company onboarded from Google. Okay. Click on OK. Usually it's up in like 30 seconds because it's just one file. Yeah, it is up. So the more the data set you index, the time it will take. We have loaded up to PB and TBs of data. So it takes the time, sometimes even take days for the index to get completed. But yeah, if you see, it directly indexed my file, which is showing here as an citations here. That this is coming from the data, and even the other one, glide.hrpar, and I got an output from him. What is the onboarding process for an employee share? All right. This could be your first start of an agent. Whenever I tell everyone to build an agent, start your policy hub agent, right? Because we have so many policies in every organization, from employee leave balance and the expense report, compliance, all the stuff. Get a latest dump of all the policies you have. Upload it directly if you are still thinking and your company don't allow you to integrate SharePoint, Azure AI Foundry, and Azure AI Search and things like that. You can just upload your files here and click through this whole project. Okay. And now you have also had an option, not just enable your knowledge search, which we did as the Foundry IQ. So Foundry IQ is where you'll be able to bring in the new data sets from Azure AI Search and your M365 Search, all integrated through this system. I'll just click on it. Okay, wait. I'll go out and then I'll come back in. Okay. You can bring those grounded data sets, and then there's a link directly here to it. There you go. So this will allow you to bring all your tools, regions, and as part of your integrated system. Or you come in here as well and you can bring it as your Azure AI search engine. Second is memory. Everybody wants the agent and the end user to store their memory. You can create a direct memory, but again, for building an agent, it's not mandatory. These things are not mandatory. Only mandatory for you is your tools which you're bringing and the data set which you're bringing. But that's what we need to build this an agent. And then the guardrails. You're able to provide guardrails right by clicking on it instead of there was once upon a time where you have to create guardrails and be dependent on the base policies. But now I can choose what kind of risk I want it to be on my block list, all my content, and I'm just clicking on check boxes to set up that guardrails for my agent. Easy, isn't it? Like you're able to publish this all in one go. And now let's go back to the publishing factor. So once you're done, once you configure your agent is here, go back to the agent. I want to show you the work IQ. Let me also go to the work IQ part. So you're connecting your work IQ, but just connecting to an Azure AI search resource, and you will be able to get grounded knowledge from your SharePoint, Outlook, OneDrive, all integrated to your Azure agent. So calling that Foundry IQ, you're able to bring that knowledge bases and indexes as one single platform. I just added here that one index. This is managed Azure Search. You are able to bring that data sets here, which for us is just the HR file. Now coming back to the agent, okay, Manpreet, I got the agent, I connected to my data source. How do I publish it? You just come on the right side here. You have a direct option to publish this as an agent. Uh, there you go. And it's less than 30 seconds. You have an agent which is published. And the best part is you can even publish this as the Teams app as well as the SharePoint M365 agent. All through the Go and process. And I'll show you how easy it is while it's published. There you go. So agent got published. I get an endpoint, direct endpoint I can use, or a response API endpoint which I can use to create a bot framework and deploy that as a team. Or I can directly publish to teams here. I can name it, provide a version, what kind of a agent this is, provide organization, and in click through, I'm able to publish an M365 Copilot and M365 team. Again, this looks good in the preview. In production environment, you're not allowed to publish it this way because of your access controls and things like that. But you can always create a package and then export it to a Teams and then import and deploy that through that system. Okay. Now coming back to the agent. So you got an agent in less than 2 3 minutes while we talking, and you have an agent which you're talking, you're chatting with it, and it is deployed and ready. You can even preview them here on the sample app code and preview the agent right from the system here as well, which is nothing but it will create a web application for you. So if you're doing a demo, and I have some homework which I provide at the end of the session to all the viewers and my attendees. So when you do this, as I said, create a small template set of pro policies. Go back to your company, load all these policies in a document set, create it, and then move to a preview mode like this on a web application. You can deploy it to a web app if you have access. Normally, end users don't have it access, but you can always show a preview from here and showcase this policy hub working on Azure AI GPT orchestration and show the benefit to your end users. And I think you will have access to our presentations as well. Use this presentation. So when you show it to your leaders, the leaders will take in, okay, yeah, this is nice. Let us bring into production, and then you start building agents. It's all started like that, right? Me showcasing what they can do in an industry. They like it. They like the use case. Oh yeah, this is important. This will save our effort. This will save our time. It will improve our employee experience. You build agents over it. You build those stuff over it. And you start with as simple as policy hub. Okay. Now coming back to the workflows. Okay. Before model workflows, I want to show you models. Now here is where the models comes in the picture. The best part of Azure AI Foundry is provides you all the 11,370 models available in the market, which is very easy to deploy from cloud to everything. But as I said, you will never. I have never been able to use, I would say, even 1,000 out of this 11,370. Wish I could. And these are all coming from Azure Foundry Labs and Hugging Face. It has its own fine-tuning sources, which company is building, things like that. And then the capabilities, what it does. Okay, or interference task. For example, now if I want to know about audio, right? I just want model processing audios where I can use. I have GPT audio to everything. Or if I want to use videos across a model, I can use video processing model and you can play around with it. Okay, there's no charge for it. Okay, for example, I'll go to Azure speech to text. Okay, there's a button called open and playground. You once there will be a button called deploy. Once you deploy, it will show you open and playground. You click on it. Okay, there you go. And I have an agent where I can hello, how are you? Okay, I'm just making a speech text and I'm generating it. And there you go. And the agent, I think you cannot hear the audio, but the agent now is creating a video who will create a profile and avatar and will text to speech for me and say me, hello, how are you? And this is ready. Hello, how are you? She just said, hello, how are you? So you can play around with these avatars. I think we also have Sora. That's my favorite. I have been playing with that a lot. Let's go back. As for a video, if you want a video, documentation, processing, yeah, hey, video to generation, that's all here. So you can just see what are the different model providers, his hair, model ID, what are the capabilities, what's the pricing. You can go every single detail here. So you don't have to go and Google, hey, what's the price for being building? Everything is right here in your Foundry portal. And my favorite is industry. Okay, there are models which are specifically created for industries, whether it's healthcare, manufacturing, life sciences. Go through the ones where, as in, I won't be biased, but go to the ones where you feel what agents I'm looking for, like protein structure prediction, for example, right? You can go and check what this model provides and what the different supporting data types, its text, what are the Englishes, it's only in one language, what it does, what's the orchestration will happen, all your posts and points gets created. It'll grow your thought process. And it's not just one model, OpenAI. There are multiple models for particular purposes trained on those data set. For example, this model set, which is on protein data, nucleic acid, and DNA assemblies, this has been trained with that data set only for you to use it for your healthcare or life sciences profiles you're training. So this will help you to navigate, and sometimes you don't even have to deploy it. Just you can play around. There's no cost for you to play around and play around because you're just doing validation. It's not production ready application. So please feel free to go and check this model. I have created videos on Sora and downloaded it for my own personal use. Hey, create an agent for me going to Starbucks. It generated a video and I've been playing all with it. So you can all do all the stuffs here in the picture. That's where the modeling comes in the picture. Okay. Now coming back to our project. Where did my project go? Here you go. All right, that's your tool system. Okay. Let's go back to the agent. All right. Now my favorite is workflows. How do you build? And sometimes people ask me, "Manpreet, what is the process of building agentic multi-agent framework?" Multi-agent framework is nothing but the workflow, the process automation where you'll be calling in different sequential agents or human in loop or group chat, which will help you to navigating a solution. So, for example, this one, right here, I'm starting. Like for example, I was asking, "What? Hey, help me with an onboarding agent." Right. I can push that to my onboarding agent, which we just built. I can select an agent. Okay, the agent which I want to get an answer for is agent onboarding. That's it. Okay, done. So I get my journey. Now, when I want to create a journey after knowing what is employee onboarding, probably my next step could be, all right, let's enroll this person in the company. That process would be adding an end user in Active Directory, getting them access to SharePoint, getting them licensed in E3 or E5 or Microsoft tenant, right? That could be my next agent, which would done and would have done the same purpose. I can just select that agent. So in a way, you're building that journey, you're building that whole knowledge all through this. And it can be a multi-agent framework where you're building it. It can be variable if else conditions like we use in normal workflow. If the employee onboarding is completed, do this or the else node. It's as simple as creating a Power Automate process just by drag and drop method, which you're calling in, and you're just scaling this whole workflow system. That's where this nature of you building agents with tools will help you. You don't have to embed in all the tools in one single agent, because if you create multiple tools, I'll give you a quick example in that. ServiceNow, okay? ServiceNow could be a very individual tool because every department will require it. HR will require it, IT will require it, sales will require it. They will all want to create tickets with it, right? So we will want to make sure that becomes an agent specific to you, and then this could be your primary agent with an instruction to do an employee onboarding, and then you can select those multiple agents when required to have a process. And this is nice, right? It gives you, you can create these notes over it. For example, if I build this and if I go away, at least somebody will know what this workflow, sequential workflow does. And you have a whole yes, you will be able to see, I don't want to say, you will be able to see all the traces, all the preview, what is doing, the monitoring, whether it's working fine or not, how many responses are dead, how many were went through. You can even to set up evaluations and test cases to play around with it and see how the data sets are coming. If you see the whole process we have been talking in 20 minutes, all is configuration. You're not doing, I'm not even open Visual Studio Code to walk you through what things are, which I did open to show you the code here, and I'll go through that. But everything is happening on the web browser here. Okay. So workflows, agents, models, you're able to create, you're able to fine tune your own models or custom models if you want to bring in MCPs and fine tuning them, why not? Tools here, you can have direct tools which we were creating in an agent, or you can create tools outside the agent which you can keep consuming in for multiple purposes. This is your computer use, SharePoint, and the Fabric data agent. And the same thing you can do is knowledge sources. You can connect your Foundry IQ, knowledge bases, SharePoint, Outlook, third-party applications from Confluence or ServiceNow knowledge articles, and create them as part of the Foundry IQ and leave ready. And then here comes is the data set where we uploaded our data employing hardware directly as a uploaded file, but you can create a data sets here, save them. My favorite is even create synthetic data creation. I love this. So every agent or data you created a model. Sorry, my voice is gone today. They need lots of data set to be trained, right? So here, using my same reference file, I can create a data set to fine tune my content. Okay, and I can create number of samples. I need 100. I can split data into training and validation part. Yeah, okay. I don't need it, and just have to come and create the generation models. Here you go. I can split it, and that's it. So it will create 100 files for me, which will help me to train on the same parent data set, which was nothing but an HR file which I downloaded from the web. It will take a while, but while it does it, let's go at the other factors. Now, coming to the evaluation here, let me see. So you want your agent to be tested, evaluated. How is it performing? It will directly give you a preview of how your data sets are, where your data set is coming from. You can use the same one which is getting created. If you already have an existing data set, you can create it. And then you can use that as your model setting from your criteria. What should showcase while it's creating the data set is still creating. I'll just try once. It takes a while. All right, I think. So here you can set up your criterias like, hey, when the agent is selecting what should be the relevance, the safety, is it, and I can always create new evaluators to test my agent with my data set, because most of the companies and individuals question is, hey, my agent should not hallucinate, right? How will you stop that? You have to train them in the data set which identifies that, okay, I'm an HR onboarding agent, I will be only doing this purposes, and you can evaluate that based on your tools and quality and safety and run it. Same thing comes on the guardrail. I think we were seeing in there are already Microsoft guardrails which comes with the GPDs, and based models, but you can always create your own guardrails that I was showing you before, that it should be these category, these jailbreaks, you should allow, don't allow PHI information, don't allow agent to ask for SSN and things like that. You can create your guardrails in the system. So in less than 15-20 minutes, you can stand alone a policy agent, deploy that to your teams or M365 Copilot just by configuration and clicking through process. You didn't have to open it, you didn't have to start from the scratch, and you're able to build these solutions very quickly. And if you like to code, it's as simple as here. You come up to the code, you're just able to change your subscription ID, data policies, and DLP policies and API endpoints, and you're able to run that agent calling those same threads and API calls. So if you're a pro code, you're always welcome. You create an endpoint from there. Maybe use tools because it's already connectors or all your SharePoint connectors, Fabric are already there. You can bring that and then connect your project to your custom agent, which you have built and deploy as a web application or a Teams app or a SharePoint app, and use that as a solution. Right. So it makes your developer lifecycle very, very easy. You are able to identify the use case. You're able to discover what model would you require. You can even use multiple models. Maybe just playing over the chat model to GPT because I feel that's good. But you can always have chat, video, audio, all multiple different data sets based on your industry, all integrated in your design, and then you're building this a workflow, when this workflow should trigger, when that agent should trigger, when that process should trigger in your deployed environment endpoint, which can be Teams, SharePoint, or as a web application. So it helps you in building an agent, and the whole purpose of you building that agent is making sure your knowledge, your actions, your security, evaluation, control all are being satisfied using Azure AI Foundry as a SaaS product. So you are not deviating from one platform to other platform to build it, or even at the custom side, you're not worried about the security endpoints and evaluation and control settings like that. So you're having a whole development cycle, like your SDLC, which we usually do with products, you have it here in managing through Microsoft Foundry. How did you like it? If I know we're on a video call, but you building an agent, you publishing that agent will become much more faster and efficient when you keep building this scale. And I'll tell you, the cost of what we did today one might be hardly $1 or $2, and you can just go back and delete it. Don't worry about taking a risk to build something. And then, as I said, always go back, play around with it, show this to the people, to your peers, to your, hey, this is what I built. I built an agent to help all our HR documentation in one. So instead of reading thousands of files of how to apply an expense report in my company, in my region, in my city, you can have an AI agent help you do that, find those data sets for you. Start with as simple as the search agent, then focus on the next is the action. Like, okay, I got the data. Now what do I do with it? Like, how do I apply an expense report? Or can you help me upload and extract all my invoice from PDF and apply it as an expense? Think of a layer endpoint, and then you'll be able to see how Azure AI Foundry makes it easier for you to build these agents. And then start with the small agent, use the new Azure AI Foundry that's more easy for intuitive UI endpoint. You're able to do an assisted agent building rather than you thinking how to build an agent and how to start from there. This is more of an assisted learning which you come through that, right? There's a akms.ai agents slash beginners content and course there where you'll be able to see how to build an agent, and there's a sample code. Just download that through GitHub and you'll be able to deploy this from day one. So the agent framework which you're trying to build, you can build it as quickly as downloading that GitHub code. Uh, but yeah, homework. Try to explore Azure AI Foundry. Just go to ai.azure.com, log in with your credentials. If you have one, that's perfect. If not, just provide your credit card and create a dev account for yourself. Try to explore the model. Even if you don't want to deploy anything, explore the model. If somebody asks you, hey, what are the models which are good for a life science or a banking company? You should have some, okay, these are the models I have seen. They really do something better, and you can play them on the playground without any chat. And then third one is yes, create an agent, test with your own personal data set. I got that data PDF file from Google. You can use your own file, own data set, and deploy that as a preview as a web application, or deploy that as a Teams app or M365 Copilot if you have a license on. But starting that journey is very, very, very important. So if you start that, you'll be able to grow well. That's it from my end. Thanks for hosting me here today. But yeah, if you have any questions, you have my LinkedIn quote on the right side, and please ping me if you have anything data related. You need some use cases. Hey, Manfred, I need learning content. Where should I start from? I have a whole gallery. I can speak for like a 2 or 3 days on Azure AI Foundry, Copilot, and what is AI in general, right? But yeah, if you have any questions relatable to that, please reach out to me.
Thank you so much, Marpreet. That was a very interesting session, and I believe our audience learned a lot. Whether you are watching live or you are watching the recording, Marpreet showed us quite some interesting details around Azure AI Foundry. Thank you, Marpreet. Thank you for taking the time and the effort to create the session
Thank
and
you.
be here today with us. We hope to see you again in another event of ours, and I wish
Absolutely.
you have a great day, my friend.
Absolutely. And thank you for hosting me and thank you for what you're doing to increase the learning for between the community. Keep doing that and I'll always be here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Marpreet. Thank you. Right. So Azure AI Connect, day four, and our first speaker already delivered an exciting session. We will continue with Tina. Tina is going to tell us all about code complete to agents, the evolution of AI powered development. And yes, we're continuing in this manner, let me say, just like Manpreet took us a level ahead of just building resources to a little bit more deeper. And Tina, I believe, is going to keep this manner of showing us more, not just the basics. But before we move on to Tina, who is our next speaker, let me play a quick video just for a small break of 1.5 minutes. I will be back to welcome her in Azure AI Connect 2026. And we are back, and Tina is with us. And of course, Tina has brought us together a co-speaker. So let me welcome both of them in stage. Hello, hello, Tina. How are you?
Hey, hi Constantinos. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. So we have with us your co-speaker. Is
Yes.
Vimal the name?
Yeah, that
Hello,
that
Vimal.
sounds good.
Welcome.
Hello, Constantine. Thank you.
I
Thank you
thought
for
the more
inviting
the
us.
I thought the more the merrier.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it when we have, more speakers, more voices into this evolving technology. So code, right? We're going a little bit deeper now. I will allow you to explain what we're going to see today, and I would like to thank you both for being here with us. It's an honor having you, and the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, so I think today we want to talk about a shift that's already happening, right? What we are seeing, a shift from, in fact, writing code to directing intelligence. So that's what our session is all about. How AI has evolved from writing code completes to agents who are doing all these work. So without taking a lot of time, let me share the screen. And yeah, I hope we can see the screen.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay. So we're going to start with some introductions. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to good afternoon, good morning, whatever time zone you are listening to us from. Welcome to Azure AI Connect 2026. We'll start with introductions. I'm Tina Idnani. I'm a solution architect in our Microsoft consulting team. I basically help customers design and build scalable cloud native architectures in Azure. And yeah, Vimal, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Gina. So, hi everyone. Thanks for joining our session. Yeah, so I'm Vimal, a solution architect at Microsoft. I help customer to design and deliver solutions related to cloud and AI on Azure. Yeah.
Great. So, like we said, we are going to talk about the shift that we're already seeing happening from writing code to directing intelligence. So, over the next 50 minutes or so, we'll show how AI has evolved from autocomplete into agents that can plan, execute, and iterate across the entire development cycle. Everything that you'll see today is real, available, and already changing how software gets built. And the session is going to be demo heavy. So, let's get started. Now, I think it's fairly reasonable to say that AI isn't going to change one role or one team, right? We are already witnessing its profound impact on individuals. We are seeing how it's revolutionizing business processes and how it's reshaping organizational dynamics. And when change happens at this scale, right, it kind of forces us to rethink how work actually gets done. And like the biggest shift is not in faster delivery, but it is more in how decisions, context, and execution flows through the teams. But you know what? AI didn't jump straight to agents. It actually evolved. So we started with the suggest stage. This is where most of us first met AI. So, for example, AI suggesting us the next sentence to complete in an email or suggesting a meeting time based on calendars. So, basically, AI would help us do the same task a little faster. Then came the explain stage. Uh, hold just a second. Yeah. Okay. So it's coming properly now. So yeah, then came the explain stage where AI learned to not just understand but also explain back to us. So for example, summarize this 20-page document, or explain why the customer satisfaction dropped last quarter. So basically, AI now understands the information, explains it back to you, but you still take the action. Then comes the third stage, act. This is where AI starts actually doing the work for us. For example, you tell it to create a project plan from a given set of requirements, or you ask AI to draft a customer proposal based on previous deals, etc. Right? So AI is not just doing the analysis for us, but it's also being capable to take actions. And then comes the collaborate. Now, this is the agentic shift, right, that we're going to be talking about, right? Where the agent, you give the ownership of, like, let's say, onboarding of a new hire to the agent. So you ask the agent to generate the plan, schedule meetings, track completion, right? So basically, AI stops being a tool and starts acting like a teammate. And I think what's important here is the direction of travel, right? We are moving from less AI waiting for prompts to more AI actually participating and doing the work. Now, in fact, I think one thing that I do want to say here is that every company's experience will be different, okay? But majorly see this journey out in three phases. The first phase see on the screen AI as an assistant, helping people do the same work, but just better and faster. Phase two, you have agents joining teams as digital colleagues, taking on specific tasks at human direction. And phase three is people set direction for agents, right? So it is agent operated but human led. Okay. Now, if I take an example, right? If you picture how a supply chain role may change with agents handling these end to end logistics while humans guide that ecosystem, you'll realize that human work is not replaced, but it is elevated. And every company may be at a different point. They may be at two different phases at the same point. Okay. But nowhere is this evolution more visible than in software development. So, with that, I'm going to hand over to Vimal to take us into the developer journey.
Yeah, thank you, Tina. So yeah, so software development has followed the same arc, right? If the software development has followed the same arc, then the role of the developer also will be changing based on that, right? As well, right? So what we'll do is like we'll start with the manual work always, and we'll write code line by line, and then we add better tools on top of that, uh, like framework, automations, and copilot chats, and everything over there. So now we are in the next phase actually, so where A doesn't assist us, but it will just take us to the part of like execution things. So if I want to check this actually, yeah, can you move on to the next session? Sorry, next slide, Tina. Yeah. So for years meant right one thing, how fast I'm going to write my code or how fast I'm delivering my code, right? That's the thing. But in the modern software, right, delivery is not the limited by the type of or the speed of code typing as well, right? What is changing now is like now the developer are no longer just implementers, they are becoming directors of intelligence, to be safe, right? Before I would write code, I would run the test, I fix the code, and then I'll deploy it somewhere, I'll update the config, everything manually. Right now I describe, if the AI comes into play, I'll describe the goal, and the AI plan the work for me and touches the right files for it, and then it runs the tools and fixes the code automatically for me. Once it is done, it will realize the real problems. So it's not only with the code, but based on some other things as well for us, and it will give us some suggestions as well. So based on that, we'll quickly and will the speed on writing the codes is fully sits with the agent, not with us, and we'll just reviewing that from our side, right? Yeah. So with that in place, let's move on to the next slide. Actually, yeah. So coming to this one, right? So context switching and then managers. Why A powered development has been changed, right? So other way of the SDLC life cycle, like so context switching. So first thing is like, so as a developer, right, today what we'll do is like we'll be constantly switching the context between the code pipeline, deployments, tickets, this, that, and everything, and we lose our concentration on what we need to do, right? So that is something a overhead for us, so which will be avoided when AI comes into play. And similarly the manual task, if I take, right, so for example, I most of the code which we are doing in the similar pattern, like unit test generation and then followed by the deployment and then all the necessary human activity which we are doing while writing the codes, all are repetitive things. Okay, and that will be like we'll be getting into a so that is like a manual task, and mostly it would be better if we automate those manual workflows using the AI agent, right? So that is one more reason for it. And similarly the delivery pressure, as we all everyone will get this delivery pressure when we write the codes, so we have to write the code in time, and also we have to deliver it in time and with a higher quality as well in place. So with that, all the delivery pressure will come into our head, and we might do end up with ending up doing the similar code multiple times with different optimizations on all these things in place, all these things. So all this evolved into a place where AI can help us in order to reduce all these things and avoid all these things, and that's where the engineering shifts from execution to orchestration, and the developers will play a huge role only on reviewing the code, and then they will work along with the AI agent to go further actually. So with that in place, right, so I'll pass on to the Tina actually to take the next things for us. Yep.
Great. Yeah. So we're going to see how does AI actually show up inside the developer workflow. So, if I talk about, if you look at the slide, This is what our developer toolchain has always been, right? Like you have a create, which means a space for developers to create, like in the IDEs. Then you have a space for developers to collaborate via repos and their extended tools. And then you have a space for the app to run. Now, because of this agentic shift, right, what has happened is that an agentic layer has been added as a new command center, which allows developers to scale and accelerate their efforts across this tool chain. But then, the question comes, where does this agentic intelligence live? And the answer to that is GitHub Code. One such tool, let me put it this way, one such tool which has this is GitHub Copilot. Now, in GitHub Copilot, you have agentic features which allow it to interact with components at each section of the tool chain. So, if I look at if I look at the create stage, okay, you have agent mode, which can take action on files on the developer's behalf with their review. We have a quick demo on it shortly after this, so we're going to see it in more detail. Then if I talk about repos at collaborate stage, right? So you have GitHub Copilot coding agents, which again, we have a wonderful demo at the end, which can perform development tasks, via the coding agent. It can review PRs, it can review code, and then also help us secure discovered vulnerabilities, etc. So, and then when developers are ready to deploy into the operate stage, you have GitHub Copilot for Azure, which can help developers find the best practices, find the right resources. And then you also have the SRE agent, Azure SRE agent, to keep an eye on the app performance, etc. But you know what? All of this didn't happen overnight. We have actually evolved, from code completion in 2021 to chat to workspace to multi-file edits and now agent mode and coding agents, right? In fact, even beyond that, you will see we have new developments coming in very frequently. I'm going to talk about app modernization agent, which was released September 2025. So I think the stack is always evolving. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see some of these features in detail and most of them with demos. So let's start with code completions, okay? This is where our Copilot journey started for most of us. Code completions are like autocomplete style suggestions, directly inside an IDE, whether it's your Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, JetBrains, or anything else. So you start writing the code and Copilot predicts what comes next. It can predict the entire line, it can predict the block, even patterns based on, what are you doing. So code completions definitely made developers faster, but they didn't really change the way how work gets done. Another thing that I want to bring here is GitHub Code Spaces. Now, GitHub Code Spaces, right? It kind of shifted the question from how do I write code faster to how fast can I start contributing? So Code Spaces is basically a cloud-based development environment. You can just open a repo and start collaborating. And this is very, very powerful for onboarding, like a new team member can go from zero to productive in minutes. Or, you can do development from anywhere. So I think this is very powerful as well. So if you see, right, like you have code complete, which gives you suggestions. You have code spaces, which which removes your dependency from a device. But then natural step then is, what can we do so that we let AI do more than suggest? This is where we move from assistance to action. And for that, I'm going to hand over to Vimal, who would show us what the agent mode is all about.
Yeah, thank you, Gina. So let me share my screen. Yeah, please let me know, is my screen visible?
Not yet. So should I stop sharing? Give me a second. Let me stop sharing. Maybe after that. Now, can you try and
Yeah,
share?
I'm. It's showing already. I'm
Yes,
sharing.
it's
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, coming to the agent mode, right? So let me quickly explain how this agent modes work, because is where the copilot really changes how the developers can work. Okay. So we have some modes in the agent modes, like plan mode, ask mode, edit mode, and agent mode, which Tina has also explained in some of the things, like how it got evolved in the GitHub Copilot thing, right? So let me cover one by one. Okay. So if I take the plan mode, with plan mode, so what it will do is, like, I'm not writing code here, right? So the with the use of GitHub Copilot, I'll just make sure that Copilot to think first. So it analyze my code base, it refine what needs to be done. It check the step by step implementation plan it will be creating, and then it can review, refine it, and then make sure everything is everywhere actually, right? So what is being, so that the design and everything. And in the ask mode, what it'll do is like, this is one of the fast one I can say. So like it's just asking questions about like how something works when the test fails, where it needs to be fixed, and all those stuff. So that will be covered mostly on the ask mode actually. And the second one is the edit mode, where it will like, so it's like more on explicit, like okay, if I select the file I want to change and describe what I need to change in a NLP language or wherever it is, right? So Copilot will apply inline suggestions and ready for review for me, so that I can just go ahead and just review that inline suggestions and then click on the tab and this one. So most of us have done this kind of edit mode, ask mode, and plan mode. So now the new era is coming to the agent mode, right? So what we'll do with the agent mode, so agent mode is combines the holistic thing of everything over here is like, so based on that, what is it will do is like the Copilot will give a high level goal. If you give a high level goal to the Copilot, what it will do is like it will plan the steps, it's figure out what needs to be done, it changes the file, and it runs the code and terminal, or in the terminal or wherever you want, and then deploy the code as well, so that this engineering shifts from execution to orchestration, right? You will be seeing to that one actually, like, so from intent to outcome actually, it'll go in that way, I can say. Okay, so with that in place, I'll just open my VS code to show some of the demo, like how the agent is going to be looks like. Sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, is it fine now? Are you able to see my VS code?
No, not yet. Yes, it's coming up now. Yes, now we are.
Okay, yeah. So coming back to the agent board actually, like, so if you see here, right? So this is the VS code which I'm gonna show here. Like, and you see the GitHub has been already been opened up, and you see these are the agents which we have over here. So if you go here, and you will be seeing an option called agent, and if you click on that, you will be seeing agent, ask mode, and plan mode, right? So you will not see edit mode here, because a agent itself will do the edit mode as well. So it became depreciated and it became redundant. So it has been removed with the GitHub Copilot now. So what are the other things which you're seeing over here is like the agents which I have created maybe, and then some of the inbuilt agents also will be there, which Tina will be covering in the next demo section. Okay, so for example, if I want to create my own agent, right? So these are some inbuilt agent which I can use, and if I want to create my own agent for my enterprise or for my project team, saying that for example the unit test needs to be 80% for few projects, and for other people it should be 90% or something, right? So in that case, I can go to this option, configure a custom agent. Then it will be asking create a custom agent. So I need to just go ahead with some name over there. And then once I enter it, it will ask like where I need to create it. Uh, since I already created in the same name, it's not asking for me. Let me create with a new name. Test agent. Enter. So once I entered it, like it will ask like whether I need to create under the GitHub agents, or do I need to create under the cloud agents, or do I need to create under the user data agents, right? So whichever you feel comfortable and which you're confident in, go with that one, then options available for you can go ahead. For now, I'm going with GitHub agents. So once I select that one, right, you will be able to see the test.agent.md file got created over here under this repository structure, right? And you will see inside that there is some kind of description, markdown things which has been written, where it's nothing but the instructions which we are going to given to this test agent actually, right? And if you see here, right, so once it got created, I'm able to see the test agent over here. So this is what I want to show over here. And for example, right, if I go with this QA agent, so if you want to define the instructions in it, so I have already defined some of the instructions for the QA agent, which I want to show just to save some time. So you can define the instructions like this. So this is a typical instruction, and you can also use GitHub Copilot to create this instruction also if you are creating it for the first time, and you can insist into your team so that they can utilize these instructions for their development and all those. For example, if you see here the line coverage, everything which we are showing over here, and when I just ask the agent to create a unit test for me, right? If you see here, it will start working on it, and then you will be able to see the QA agent picks this up, and then it start working on creating the unit test cases for me actually. So yeah, so this is how the agent mode will work nowadays. So over to you, Tina. And there are some inbuilt agents also, which Tina is going to cover in the next thing. So yeah,
Sure. If you'll stop share, I'll then share again.
yeah,
Okay. Is it visible?
not it. You're sharing? Sorry.
I was. It didn't show up. I'll just try again. Let me know.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So I think that was really nice that Vimal showed us about the different agent mode, right? And in agent mode, like he said, there are some options to create new custom agents, or you can use the default agent mode, which is the GitHub Copilot agent running behind the scene, or there are some pre-built agents, right? So for example, like Microsoft, all of the different third parties, right, they're coming up with their own agents to do certain tasks which they think is best to be done their way. So one such agent I'm going to be talking about, it is GitHub Copilot App Modernization Agent. This is Microsoft's agent if you want to do any application upgrade, right? Or if you want to modernize an application to Azure. So for example, if you have a legacy application, right now this tool supports .NET, Java, and Python. But let's imagine if you have a legacy .NET application, written in, let's say, ASP.NET 4.8, and you want to modernize it, you want to start getting the benefits of bringing it to Azure. For that, you realize you have to upgrade it to the latest framework, and you know how upgrades are, right? They're never easy. They take weeks, they take months, there are a lot of dependencies, etc. So what this agent will do for you is this agent will not only help you upgrade your application to the latest framework, but it will also help you modernize the application to Azure. Okay, so if I talk about how this process works behind the scene, you basically take input as, either as VS Code extension or Visual Studio extension or VS Code extension, or even GitHub Copilot CLI. It then goes via three intentional workflow stages. One is assessment, where it reviews all your repository, the repository in which you're trying to modernize. It's going to find things which are mismatch, uncompatible. It's going to identify dependencies, and then it's going to prepare a structured plan for you, what it would take you to um, upgrade this application or modernize it to Azure. And then the impressive part, right? It's going to come and execute it for you. The best part about the execution phase is that it is self-healing. So for example, if the agent, like if there is an error in performing the upgrade, the agent is going to troubleshoot that error and going to fix it as well. Like it may be an iterative process, but you are going to be completely hands off. And it also self optimizes. So if you have to refactor an application and you have the file and multiple, you have same change in multiple files, it'll automatically like build a script for you to do it across all the files rather than doing the simple manual update process. Ultimately what you get out of it is an upgraded .NET 8, 9, 10 application, also modernized to Azure based on what you've asked it to do. So with that, I think let's take a look at the demo. But before going into the demo, let me just show you, we are taking a sample application and I want to walk through the architecture of that application with you. So it's a Contoso University architecture. It's a university web app, ASP.NET web app. So you can see it has controllers, student controller, courses controller, instructors, like typical for what a university web app would look like. It has business services, so like notification service, logging service. So notification service goes and connects with your MSMQ queue, which itself tells us its legacy, right? And then it also connects to a SQL Server database via your EF entity framework code. So what we're going to do is we've already done one step here. We have already upgraded, like it was originally an ASP.NET 4.8 application. We've already upgraded it to .NET 10 using the same agent. It was a really a big piece of work which the agent did it in like less than 30 minutes. Now in the interest of time, we don't want to show you the whole process, but what we want to show you is one part of the second part of it, which is the modernization part, right? Like imagine you've already upgraded to .NET 10, but now you want to move your legacy application to Azure. Okay, and even in that, there are going to be multiple opportunities to modernize. We are going to pick one such opportunity and move that to Azure. So let's get into action. Now this is the Visual Studio Code with our repo. You can see like a dog, right? There are controllers, there is data, there are models, there are services, there are views. So basically, it's not like a hello world application, right? It's a fairly complex application, and I'm on a .NET 10 modernized branch. So if I go check the CS file, I can see that it is in .NET 10 now. And then the packages are also in .NET 10. So if let's, I always do this, that I run the application just before I modernize or make any changes, just to, kind of have a baseline of what is working, what is not working, right? So that once you've done the modernization, you can compare it back. Different people may have like some smoke test, etc. So make sure whatever works for you. So I've picked up the application loads well, and I'm just making one change in it. So looks like it's working good, right? And I can see that my name has also been updated. So this is a .NET 10 application working good, but the only problem is this is not on Azure. So and how can I check that? If I go check the app settings file, yes, my database right now is pointing to a local SQL database, but when you deploy, it's an on-prem SQL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start installing this agent first. So for that, I'm searching with GitHub Copilot app, and you can see there are three agents, one for .NET, one for Java, and one is a parent one, which has all three of them. So once you install it, right, it appears on your Visual Studio, and you see this razor view, and you also see that agent coming up in your list of agents. Okay, so once you have it, we select that agent, and then we'll just ask a very simple thing. We'll just ask us to tell us the modernization opportunities on this. So we're asking it to run the modernization assessment. Now, now this is going to start that intentional workflow, right, that we were talking about. It's going to do a full assessment of similar to like, and you can do it from that other view also, but it's going to start reading all your code files, and it is going to try and identify the modernization opportunities for you. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so it has come up with a modernization assessment report. Now, if you look at that, right, it has identified the current state that it is already in .NET 10. It has identified what database it is on, and then it's giving us a list of opportunities. So database, it's suggesting to move to SQL database, Azure SQL. Um, Messaging, it is telling us to move to Azure Service Bus, rightly so. Security, it's giving option to move to managed identity. Logging, it's suggesting app insights. Hosting, web app. So you can see it's given us a full list of what it would take to migrate this application to Azure. It's even given us a recommended migration sequence, right? Like based on maybe your engineering capacity. So it's like told you what you can do. So there are a couple of things, right? Like you can do Azure SQL database modernization, or you can host it on app service as well. But for the sake of this demo, what we're going to do is we are just going to take modernization, right, to Azure SQL database, and we're going to see how it goes and does it. And you will notice, right, I'm completely hands off. I'm just asking that agent, app modernization.net agent, to migrate it, not the data, but the schema to and the code to Azure SQL database. I've already given the server details and the database name. It's an existing SQL server and the database in Azure that I have pre-created. This is so that I don't even have to update the connection settings. So the agent has started working. You will see it did the analysis, and now it has created 14 to-do file. This is what I was saying, that it does a very thorough planning, structured planning. Now, some of you may feel, right, that this is just a sequel to Azure SQL. It's a low hanging fruit, right? But you will see it has done such a comprehensive list of actions that it is going to do. So it's not just doing their code changes and your connection string and your configuration updates. It's also ensuring that it builds correctly. It's also ensuring that there are no vulnerabilities in it, right? So for that, it is creating a migration plan. It is doing version control setup, which means I don't have to select a branch. I don't have to create a branch, right? And ask the agent to do changes there. No, it automatically handles that. It picks your source branch, it creates a target branch, and then it gives you that list, right? So if you, and this is the tracking file that you're seeing. So it also tracks where it is in that whole process of the task that you asked to do. And if you want to go into details of the plan, right, it like literally gives you those technical details as well, whatever it has done, right? It, the what packages it's going to add in order to get you to Azure, what connection string it's going to update, what files are going to change. So you can see, right, it gives you a very comprehensive view of what it's going to do. And then when it starts doing the changes, if it has to execute any command for you, like as you see here, it is right now waiting for us to allow to run a command. It basically wants to add a .NET package, and it's doing that using your CLI, but then it waits for you to approve the running of the command. And as you see, looks like it's actually failed because of a downgrade error. But because I had said earlier, right, it's self-healing, it automatically identifies the problem, troubleshoots it, fixes it, and moves to the next step. So it's right now, doing your updating your dependencies, but you will see it has moved to updating your configuration. And like at this point, honestly, if you ask me, right, like you can even change the window and go do something else, and come back when it has completed the migration. One thing that we always tell is, okay, right now it's in the build step, right now it's building it for you. One thing that we always tell our users is that, please be that human in the loop and review the changes that are coming, right? Sometimes you do certain, sometimes see the agent over engineering things, so you have to keep a tight look on what it is doing, right? So you need that your judgment in the whole thing. So right now it's running your CVE vulnerability check. Honestly, if you ask me, if I was doing this upgrade, maybe, right, as developers, we might have missed it. But here it is, it's doing that full consistency validation. Also, it's making sure there are no files which probably still have the old configuration setting, right? So it's making sure that your repo is consistent. It's also doing your test verification, which is really good. So if you have tests, it'll make sure that when it modernizes it, your tests will run. In this case, unfortunately, there were no unit test cases, so it did not add new unit test case. But then you can use custom agents to add a test cases to your repo, right, and move forward with it. So overall, I think it is almost towards the completion of it, right? It's doing like a final completeness validation. Once it does that, like it'll do another final build validation, because what if some of the changes that it, like some of the steps that it ran after the last build required some changes. So it kind of does a final build validation. Once it'll do the final build validation, it'll then do a final code commit. And yeah, and that's it. Like, honestly, your work would be done. It'll give you a migration summary as well. So as I can see, it is doing the final build validation, which is completed. It's also done the code commit, which means it has committed your changes in the branch that it was working on, and it is generating a summary, which means at this point, ideally, you can tell the Copilot to also generate a PR for you. And once the PR is generated, you can review the changes it has done. And if you're really happy, then you've actually gotten, you've completed this step. But let's not just, just stop. Just we should stop there, because it has validated that there are no compile time errors. But we should do one thing: we should try and run and see it works or not. So first, let's check the app setting files. Yes, I can see that it has updated our latest settings. And now we are going to do the runtime checks, right? Like sometimes it happens that compile time succeeds, but runtime you see errors. But again, if you tell the agent, it also identifies and fixes it. But right now, its responsibility stops at building. So if I look at it, I'm able to load my screen. It is still on localhost. That's okay. I'll go to the students list. Now we should be pointing to our actually SQL database, Azure SQL database. For that, I'm going to open the SQL server. I'm going to go to query editor. Yes. I'm going to log in, and I'm going to check the data in the table, right? just so that we can confirm that it is indeed pointing to the database here. So yeah, so I can see that there is a row with my name at the end. I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier. I'm going to make a small edit to it and see if it reflects in the database or not. So I come here, it has updated it. I go back and I rerun it and I do see my update, which, kind of reconfirms, right? I saw the connection setting and I saw this as well. So we have actually done that part, right? Where we moved from our on-prem database to Azure SQL. Like this was an easy example because, we didn't have schema mismatches and this was no data migration involved. But I think the point we are trying to show here is that you can get GitHub Copilot, these pre-built agents, right, to do things for you in a comprehensive manner. So with that, I think my demo is done, and I'm going to hand over to Vimal for another exciting demo.
Yeah, thank you, Tina. Thank you for it. Yeah, please let me know, is my screen visible? Else you can also share the things for me. Yeah, please shout if my screen is visible.
It is, yes, it is visible.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So hope we are seeing the MCP on a slide in front of you guys actually. So
Yes.
yeah, what is yeah. So what is MCP, right? So MCP is nothing but the model context protocol, right? Where it can help your agent to connect with your enterprise level tools, something like, for example, GitHub repositories and all those stuff. Okay. So let me put this way, like, okay, so when I want to do something, okay, agent is going to help me by writing the codes or whatever it is, but after that I need to review it, and that needs to be like pushed to some repositories, and then it should align with my enterprise level coding standards. And then is there any internal tools or testing tools which I need to integrate with that one, right? And for example, if I have some internal APIs where I have a specific or enterprise level strategic related stuffs over there in my organization, then I have to integrate that with my agent, how I can utilize the GitHub Copilot with my enterprise level standardized things over there, right? So that's where the MCP comes into play, right? So let me quickly explain what's happening over there in MCP using GitHub Copilot, right? So MCP plays an a bridge between the agent and the uh, tools which you are going to use, or the documents which you are using in the enterprise level within your organization actually. So without MCP, A is isolated. Yeah, you can use the prompt, you can go ahead with the things, and it doesn't understand what exactly your organization is looking for based on the standards. You have to be doing that bridge instead of MCP, right? So with MCP, A is like fully in live context actually. It will make the actions in real time, not only on the coding perspective, but on the execution perspective also, right? On the outcome perspective also. So the agentic workflow will work something like, okay, for example, I'm typing something on the agent, and then I want to I'll give some instruction to the agent so that do this for me, and then raise this PR and assign it to someone else, right? So it can do that for me automatically, and that will be like using the MCP in between actually. So this authenticate, the agent will be authenticated with MCP, with your authentication, and then that authentication will be helping to go towards any of the enterprise or your tool which you are going to connect with it. For example, you can connect with testing and tools, you can connect with any data docs over there, so that the enterprise docs will be considered for the development, and also like internal APIs, anything. For example, you have any framework or anything, the coding needs to be adhere to that framework in the pipeline, then that internal API you can give over here, so that the agent will access that API and then get the informations and code accordingly. All this can happen over here, right? So with that in place, I'll just quickly move on to the next slide. Okay, I'll show a demo using MCP with GitHub Copilot, right? So if you see here, I have just taken the similar code base here, like Contest University, and you see here I have the mcp.json file over here. So whenever you are creating an MCP server, you have to create a JSON file, and that needs to with your root repository. And for example, if I take GitHub in this place, so I have to give the GitHub servers token and everything. So let me just open the terminal, and I'll say that, okay, how I authenticated with GitHub Copilot already with this MCP, right? So you just go to this one and check the status. I'm just for time being, I'm just checking the status alone over here. Okay, so if you see here, right, so Yeah, it's already logged into the. So my GitHub Copilot through MCP server, which I have defined over here, has access to the GitHub home. So now I'm going to ask to write an unit test cases for one of the service which over here, and then raise the PR for me, right? When I clicked on it, and I'm using Cloud Agent here, by the way, it's not GitHub Copilot agent, it's a Cloud Agent now over here, which you are seeing within GitHub Copilot. So what it will do is like, so if you see here, right, it started thinking on seeing what needs to be done, what the user wants, and all those stuff. It started doing it. So next stage will be like evaluating like what needs to be done, and based on this evaluation, it will do the process. And then during this process, what it will do is like it will create a to-do list for it to execute it, like, okay, what are the files it needs to process, and what are the things it needs to do. If you see, right, so it started thinking, and it will start doing the to-do list for us. So if you see that, first it will going to create the unit test for the unit notification service, second run test for us, and then commit changes for it. So now it has already wrote the test cases for us. Now it is trying to run the test cases which has been newly written by it, and make them validate whether it is passing or not, right? And also it is, if you see in the code, right, so in the chat, it's also checking the full test suite to confirm nothing is broken. So not only the new one, the existing one on top of the new one, right? So that is also, it is going to check whether is our existing code is blocking anything or not, right? So if you see here, right, so all the existing code, that 132 test cases has passed, and 2 got skipped because of the pre-existing things and all those stuff, right? So now it ran the test cases also. Now what it's going to do is like, so it will commit the changes with proper commit messages, and with test cases, what it has been executed and the results of it, and the test plan related to that, and raise the PR and push the code. Maybe, yeah, first push the code to the GitHub repository automatically, and then if you see here, these are the results it is going to have in our uh, uh, commit messages, and then that will be there in your PR as well, in the PR commit message, and then you see the test results also there, and it raised the PR already, and this is the link for it. So yeah, if I go to that link, yeah, 1 minute. Yeah. So if you see here, right, so it already raised the PR for me, and since I have authenticated with my name, and it used my authentication for it, and you see it added the unit test case for note service notification service. It added the summary, how many new unit test cases has been added, and also like what are the services it has taken, and how many tests it ran in total, and the test plan on all these individual files what it got created. And if you see at the bottom, it got created using the Cloud agent, right? So which agent it got created and everything. So this will be done automatically using MCP. And you see, we have Copilot within GitHub also, which Tina is going to show us a cool demo in a moment, actually. Yeah. So that's about MCP. It's not only with GitHub, it can be integrated with all other internal APIs as well. Over to you, Tina.
Yeah, I think MCP is such a powerful tool, right, that helps us connect our repos to the real world, right? Like whether it is GitHub, what we saw, what Vimal showed us, or maybe Azure MCP servers, right, which help us just connect to grounded documents, right, like Microsoft Learn documents, and get us the authentic data rather than worrying about doing a search and not sure where the data is coming from. So I think MCP is really very powerful, and thank you, Vimal, for showing us an example integration for it. So yeah, and on that note, right, about PRs, right, the next question then comes is, what if we could get GitHub Copilot agent actually embedded in the delivery workflow with us, right, just like any other developer? And for that, I am going to share screen and take us to our last topic for this session, um, which is GitHub Coding Agent. Okay, now this is a really powerful capability that has been added in GitHub. It's not available in Azure DevOps yet, but this enhances team productivity like an AI teammate. So basically, you can assign issues to GitHub Copilot and get back pull requests automatically, like validated with tests, linters, etc. It also means that developers can assign GitHub Copilot a range of their development tasks, right? From maybe refactoring code to improving test coverage, or like fixing defects, implementing new features. I think the list is endless, right? In fact, even for complex tasks, GitHub Copilot can collaborate with other agents across all stages of the life cycle. But so let's see it in action. Now, for that, I am going to bring another screen up. Just give me 1 second. Here. Okay, so I'm in GitHub now. This is my repo. I have a repo called Infra Build with Agents, and then I'm starting off something new, and I want Copilot's help, right? So what I do is, I go click on issues. I create a new issue. I've already pre-created it here. Let me in fact just zoom this just so that it is readable. So basically, what I've done is, I've written what I wanted GitHub Copilot to do for me, or maybe what I would have wanted any other developer to do for me, right? Like I want to build IAC code, like Terraform based modules, and I have like an Azure architecture mentioned in one of Microsoft reference architectures, and I want to start building it. So I want to start writing IAC code for the components which are mentioned here, but like I don't want to do it. I want somebody else to do it, and that somebody else for me is going to be Copilot. So an important thing there is, you have to be very clear in what you really want Copilot to do, what kind of coding style you want it to use. So like I've given some instructions here, right? Keep every module in a separate folder, use Terraform coding best practices, make sure use the latest Terraform version, create test cases. So you can kind of, the more detailed you are in your task, the more um, tuned response you would get from Copilot. Okay, so you do that. And now what I'm going to do is in the assignees, I'm going to assign it to Copilot. Now, when I assign it to Copilot, there is an option to provide additional instructions. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to assign it. Now, the magic starts from now. Okay, the minute Copilot got assigned to it, you'll realize that Copilot acknowledges it, saying that it is looking at it, and it immediately creates a new branch and creates a work in progress um, PR template. Okay, at this point, there is nothing in the PR template. As you can kind of see, there is just one commit and it's an initial plan, but it has started working. And how do you know it is working on it? Like two things, like one, this PR is work in progress. Once it finishes, it will remove this work in progress link. Or second, you can actually go and check your progress in these actions stage. So you should be able to, let me just refresh and see it running. Let me come here in the agents and hopefully we can see it running here. So, okay. So it looks like I don't know why, but it is not working. But what I can do, one thing is I can show you the run, which was working yesterday. So like, if you look at here, um, let's see, it has actually created the full PR for us, but let's go to actions. Okay, so it's looks like it's starting now. It's cute. Okay, so it's just demo gods playing with us. So it is queued up. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and it's going to start working, and it's going to take another 30-35 minutes anyways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a previous run which was working. So if you see here, right, like Copilot took 30 minutes in building it up, and if I go further to understand what did actually Copilot do, so you can see the full details here, right? It sets up the job, then it validates your runner operating system, it prepares Copilot. You also notice, right, it also starts MCP servers. So whatever MCP servers it needs, it uses them, and then ultimately then it processes your request. So this is the request, right? This is the full processing where it's going to build your modules, taking make like like keeping in mind the best practices or whatever coding standards you've shared with it. Okay, and once it's done with it, which means in 30 minutes when it finished it, what you would see is it would come up with a pull request. And this is the work in progress pull request. So let's skip this. Let me just go to this one for now. And you will see here, it has come up with a very nice pull request. It's given you a good description of what the pull request is doing. It is, and then if you look at the files, right? you will notice that it has created 59 files. So imagine if you were supposed to do this, it would have definitely taken you a long time, but Copilot has like done it in 30 minutes. It has listened to your instructions, so you can see each component is in its own module. And then if you see towards the end, right, there are tests as well. In fact, it goes one step ahead. It also runs it in an environment for you. So if I go back, right, like this is the PR which it has created, but if I go back to actions, you will see there are some actions which I have not completed, but it basically generates a pipeline for you as well to test your deployment, to test the changes that it has done. Okay, and it's asking me to approve and run, but I've not done few things. I have not really attached the client ID and some of the other things, so I know even if I run it, it's not going to succeed. But I think the point that I'm trying to show here is that it actually creates a full pull request for you. And when you are in that pull request, right, imagine you receive this pull request, you start reviewing it as if you would review any other PR that you have, like maybe select a particular area and like make a comment. And once you add a comment, right, and then when you give it back to the co-pilot, so there is three options here, right, like general feedback without approval, one proper approval, and one like request changes. So when you choose this and you submit for review, what will happen is Copilot will again pick it up, will read your comment, will make appropriate changes as required, and again send it back to you for review, which means that cycle will continue until you are happy with it and you click on approve. So very similar to how a developer workflow would do. So I think to me this is really powerful, and we've seen some teams here who have actually started using this capability, which means that when you're doing your background backlog refinement sessions, right, you identify a set of tasks that you want to get done. And then maybe to start with, right, you can start with simpler tasks. You don't have to like jump and go give GitHub Copilot coding agent the most heaviest of the tasks which require a lot of, I don't know, customer collaboration as well. But the easy simple tasks, right, to start with, you can give it to Copilot, you can see how it is doing. And in fact, like the better instructions you give, the better outcome and results you will get. So I think I would definitely want to end our session basically with this demo, to like kind of guide everybody that if you've not looked into this coding agent, or you've not looked into the demos that we've shared you before, please do look into them. I think GitHub Copilot is really evolving in very fast, and there are a lot of things that you can do with it. So with that, I just want to come to what it means for us. So it basically means faster time to value. So what I mean with by that is, right, because you are able to do things faster, you modernize faster, you deliver faster with higher quality, less effort. So in doing so, right, we reach our delivery milestones much sooner with more predictable outcomes. Then you have improved operational efficiency. So we saw in that modernization demo, right, like it also took care of the CVE for me. So basically it does a work of a software consultant engineer along with the DevOps, along with the security professional. So it definitely improves our operational efficiency, and then higher talent retention. I totally agree. I think it takes away the painful, repetitive, monotonous work from us, so that we can actually focus on the strategic bits, right? What really matter more, and like where we should be ideally concentrating and focusing our work. So more happy team, higher talent retention. So basically, GitHub Copilot isn't just like modernizing applications. It's actually modernizing how we deliver things. And I think that is the competitive advantage that we get from here. We are going to leave you with some resources. So if you are interested in continuing your journey further, we are going to leave some resources, to know more about the agent mode, to know more about app modernization agent, to know more about MCP, and to know more about coding agent. Feel free to read through, feel free to try your own things. And with that, we are going to say thank you. And I hope you liked our session. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us on our LinkedIn profiles.
Yeah, thanks everyone for your time. I hope we have shared something very useful for you guys. Okay, please let us know in case if you need some more topics related to this one or anything else on any other topics. Please just ping us in LinkedIn. We are open.
Thank you
Cool.
so much, guys. You did such an amazing presentation, and in fact, I was so happy to see you, taking the tools to the next level, to the actual level that they are supposed to work. The landscape has changed, and it was very interesting and fulfilling to see you working on these tools, actual hands-on, so everyone, understands what's going on, how this developer idea of what the developer now has to do has changed. Thank you so much for taking the time to create this resourceful presentation with so many legs, and you had a wonderful cooperation, both of you. Hope to see you in another event of ours. Thank you so much for being with
Yeah.
us.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. Looking forward to
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Constantine.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye. Excellent. What a way to close the day. And I know that maybe I'm disappointing you, but I can control our speakers. And as I said earlier, and yesterday and every day, we are humans, and some things happen, so we cannot always plan, and the plans can come true. So for today, we are closing since our next speakers are unable to deliver. Peter, the tender, has contacted me, and he will prepare a recording of his session to get uploaded on our channel. It will be done through the weekend, something like that. So it will be available on our channel where you are currently watching, probably live, or you are connected later on and you're watching the recording. Nevertheless, all the sessions will continue as normal tomorrow. So I would like to thank everyone for connecting and being here with us, supporting the community. Spread the word, share the links of our channels to your friends and your audience. I think there is a lot of value in these presentations. We are currently living the evolution of a technology that came by storm and is continuing to affect our lives as developers, programmers, and IT people. I would like to thank you again for staying up until day 4. Tomorrow is the last day, day 5, with more interesting sessions. And so long. See you soon, guys. Thank you.
Join us for Azure AI Connect, happening virtually from March 2 to March 6, 2026.